Today on Expert Showcase, Ely Delaney is our guest expert, and he wants you to know that you might be losing 50% of your sales by not following 3 easy steps. Ely, welcome. We're on opposite coasts, I guess. You're out in Oregon. Welcome to the show. Hope you're doing well today.
Oh, thanks so much, Mark. It's my pleasure to be here.
Well, help our audience out here. We have a lot of different guests, so I want to orient them to the knowledge that you're going to impart to me on their behalf. So what are we going to cover in today's episode?
We're going to talk about follow-up, because that's one of the things that I find, it amazes me how many times I meet people at networking events and conferences and seminars and, just doing business. I mean, even in the drive-through Starbucks, I've actually done business before. And it amazes me how many times I'll actually say, I want to hear more about your business. Here's my card. Give me a holler. Shoot me an email. And I never hear from them again. And it amazes me how much business is lost just because we don't follow up enough. And so that's what we're going to talk about.
Absolutely critical, and you're right, it ought to be obvious, doesn't happen. So we're going to cover 3 main things today to give people some takeaways. So add value first, I love that. Ask questions and become their trusted advisor. So let's walk through those a little bit, and yeah, follow-up is key. People talk about it all the time, but the talk is cheap, they don't walk the walk. So tell me a little bit about what you mean when you say add value up front.
The very first thing, I find, and I started my first business, which was a web and graphic design company, roughly about 20 years ago, and it amazes me how many people that I meet that literally they come in the door just with a, hey, what do you do? Oh, by the way, this is what I do, and this is what I have for sale, and this is the specials we have going on today, and they're just, pitch. And we don't, nobody likes to be sold to. We like to buy. We love to buy stuff. We're a consumerism world. We love to buy stuff. But we don't want somebody selling us, and that's where the problem comes in. And if you can just shift your mind a little bit and say, okay, how can I add value? The conversation about my products and services may come in, and if it is pseudo around that, like for me as an example, I'm a marketing guy, so I have all kinds of tips, tricks, resources, plugins for WordPress, all kinds of different things that I have in, buried in my head, that when somebody will talk to me about something that's going on, and I'm like, well, have you tried this? Try this plugin for your website. Or, I have one thing is a lot of times when I meet people, I'll ask them a little bit about who they are and what they do and things like that. I'm like, so what are you doing to market yourself right now? And, of course, I am leading up to potentially working with them, but they'll tell me what they're doing, and I'm like, have you tried this? And I'll give them a strategy, something that they can do right then and there, that they could take and walk away with it and never talk to me again if they wanted to. But I want to add that value up front and show them that I care about their success and care about what they do. Sometimes I'll find somebody who has it all together from that standpoint, and what they need is an electrician for their new build-out that they're doing. And so I'm like, hey, you know what? Let me connect you with them, or maybe a book. Just add value. Do something where you're giving first without saying anything about your own products and services. That's going to leave a lasting impression, because they're used to getting pitched all the time. I've actually seen it where I will walk up to somebody and I can literally see in their eyes, if there was like a ticker tape going across their forehead, it would have 2 questions. Are you going to mug me? And are you going to sell me something? That's it.
I like it, yeah.
I mean, literally. Yeah,
and so we want to which one is actually going to be worse for them, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the funny thing about it is, go back to, some of us have, if you know anything about NLP, use that whole concept of pattern interrupt. When you actually get to ask them questions about them and how can you, the things that you can do to add value to them instead of pitching them, that becomes a pattern interrupt, and they get actually confused. And they want to spend more time with you because you're being helpful instead of just trying to sell them your stuff.
Oh, it's great advice, Ely, and people think they're being time efficient by just jumping down the person's throat and going for the sale, but of course they don't have enough information. And following your lead here, if you were to actually take the time and ask a few questions, get to know this person, build a little bit of a relationship, you might actually find that they really need your product, and you might be able to actually phrase it to them in the right way. So that's it's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, and one of the things with that too is it gives you the opportunity to find out if they're not a good prospect for you too. Because I actually had one time, it was so funny. I'm at an event. There's like 1,500 people at this event, a huge, huge networking event in Phoenix one time because I was there for 18 years. And this girl walks up to me, and she's got a booth, and she walks up to me, and she goes, "Hey, how's it going? What's your name?" I said, "Eli," and, shake hands and everything. She goes, "I bet I could help you out." And she goes into this whole pitch, essentially. I mean, for lack of a better term, literally 5 minutes. I could swear this girl did not take a breath. And she's going on about how she can help me with my social media, and that she knows that she can help me eliminate all the confusion, and she'll just take care of it for me, and blah, blah, blah. And she went literally 5 minutes talking, and then she stops and goes, "So what is it you do?" Now, I run a training company teaching people marketing stuff. Social media is one of those things. So my response was, "I teach people how to not have to hire people like you." And she literally, her face dropped. She's like, huh? And I'm like, "Yeah, actually, that's what I do. I teach people how to use social media so they don't have to worry about hiring somebody else to take care of it for them." Now, I did that to prove a point, and because I'm obnoxious, and so I had to throw it out there. But if she had stopped and asked questions about me first, she could have found a way to approach me from a standpoint of, "So do you ever run into people who just, even though they get what you teach, they still just want somebody to do it for them?" Because I do. Then we could have had a good relationship where I probably wouldn't use her services, but I might be willing to refer her out in that situation. But she had gone into pitch mode so hard that she pretty much burned the bridge just because of the fact that I was just waiting. I didn't know what to say. I'm like waiting for her to stop long enough so I could say, "Whoa, hold on a second." And she didn't. She was like nonstop.
Right. So now, at this point, this conversation is all about her because it's not a conversation. It's a fire hose coming at you. Well, Eli, let's talk specifically about questions. I mean, how do you use questions? How do you teach people to use questions much more effectively, obviously, than this young lady was versed at doing?
The first thing that I recommend is make the conversation about them. Ask them questions. And the thing is, it's not just asking questions. It's like, okay, so how long have you been in business? And what got you into this business? That's a really big one that a lot of times people don't think. The how long have you been in business? That's typical. Everybody asks that question. But if you say, what got you into this business? And then you hear their passion of why they love what they do. And so that's where you can really start a conversation. And you make the conversation about them. Again, it's a conversation, not a dialogue, that you make the conversation about them to where you become this amazing listener. And everybody likes to talk about themselves. That's human nature. We all have that ego piece that wants to talk about how awesome we are. Let them. Ask them questions about, so what's your favorite thing about this, or what's the worst client you've ever dealt with? I mean, I'll ask little odd questions like that people don't normally see, but it causes a better engagement, and it brings out emotion, which people buy off of emotion. So if you can get them emotional one way or another, that's going to make a better conversation. They're going to get excited. It builds rapport where they're feeling more comfortable with you, and you become a great listener, which is great. One thing that I like to do with that is I also use all of that to kind of do a little bit of research and figure out, okay, is this going to be a good person as a potential client of mine? If they're not, then I can still have an amazing conversation with them and then shake hands, walk away, and never see them again if that's the case. But you've got to figure that out first. Ask lots of questions and make them oddball questions that'll cause a little bit more emotion and engagement with them.
Well, and I love that you also obviously mentioned being a good listener, because I know you've run into this, Eli, where someone has heard this concept of asking questions, but they're asking a barrage of they're doing an interrogation now, and all they're doing is waiting for the opportunity to then start the pitch because they're not actually listening to the answers to the questions, right? So I'm assuming that's not what you're advising. Yeah.
No, definitely. If you ask a question and when they respond, your answer or your response is, you're doing it wrong. Because I've had that. I've had people, well, they start asking me questions, and as I answer, they just go, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. They're waiting for that point.
Right,
They're
exactly.
looking for that spot, and I like to say this is the hunter mentality. They're waiting to go in for the kill. They're trying to figure out when that perfect time is for them to say, oh, I've got a great solution for that. You should come check out blah, 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 blah that I've got going on next week, and that kind of stuff.
Right.
So you've got to make it interactive, make it a conversation, and make it fun, and make it personal. You know, You've got people buy from who they know, like, and trust. We've heard that, the KLT factor, we've heard that before. That phrase has been around since the dawn of time. The problem is that you've got to think about the logic of it. Those three words are in a very specific order for a very specific reason. So know, like, and trust. Well, I'm not going to trust somebody generally if I don't like them. You know, there are cases where it can happen. Maybe your attorney, that could be a good exception. But generally, you have to like somebody before you're going to trust them. But in order to like somebody, you've got to get to know them. Mm-hmm. And you got that know, like, trust. You can't trust if you don't like, and you can't like if you don't know them. So think about those three words in that specific order, and ask questions that are going to get people to really enjoy hanging out with you, enjoy the conversation. They're going to like your personality, which, by the way, people buy off of personality. Nobody cares what company you work for. I mean, think about how many real estate agents you know. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, just as a guess, Mark, how many real estate agents would you say you know off the top of your head?
Oh, I could give you a dozen at least, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So now if you were going to go buy a new house today, how many would you potentially sit down and talk to?
There are only two.
Exactly. And we're all in that situation. I know people who know literally hundreds. I'm one of them. I actually know over 100 real estate agents personally that I've hung out with because I network so much. Mm-hmm. And there are two that I would talk to. And that's because we have that know, like, and trust. So those are the type of things you need to do. That's why those questions are so important, and let people know that you really do care about them.
Well, and I think that's a great segue then to that trust factor. I mean, you talk about becoming the trusted advisor, and obviously that's where someone doing this right, asking the questions, is leading up to really finding a way to be helpful, not just with the one product and service that you're looking to get out of your inventory, right?
Right. Well, and that's the key, is that when you meet somebody, and this could be, like I said, I network all the time. I mean, networking is my thing. I'm a connector. So sometimes it's online, sometimes it's doing video interviews and conversations like this. I do a lot of panels, and sometimes it's going to a local chamber of commerce and everything in between. So when I sit down and I talk to somebody, or I'm even that first initial, hey, how's it going? I'm Eli, that first handshake, my brain is already going, okay, who is this person? What do they do? What do they need? And how can I help them with that? And so a lot of times I will immediately go, okay, I know somebody you need to talk to. Let me do an introduction for you. What I want you to do is, here's my card. I want you to email me tomorrow and remind me, because I will probably forget. That's just normal, okay? So I'm going to forget. But email me tomorrow, and I'm going to introduce you to them. I did that with somebody just 2 days ago, where another networker, he had a workshop. I went and checked out his workshop to see kind of where we might fit in together. He has some great materials. He's going to be doing a tour and doing some workshops in Denver. I know a couple of people in Denver who run a radio show. They're very good friends of mine, and I was like, you know what? You guys need to connect. So do me a favor, remind me, and I will connect you. So then that way, maybe they can help get some extra bodies in the door for your workshop.
Absolutely.
And I did that a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do I get anything out of that? Yeah. I get the satisfaction of helping two people.
And you get goodwill, and you get to be a great resource, so that when I do, odds are in the context of that conversation, I have some clue of what you do as well. I might not need your service today, but now Eli's that guy that really helped me out with that realtor that I needed to help me sell my house. Well, Eli's a helpful guy. He probably can help me out with his actual main business, can he?
Right, and that's the cool thing about it, is you let people know what your business is and how you can help them, but that's almost like an afterthought type of situation. You know, people know what I do. They know that I do training and coaching and all that kind of stuff, and I put it out there all the time, but my conversations are not about selling my products and services. My conversations are, how can I help you? Hey, by the way, I just read this really great book. You should check it out. Here is the link on Amazon for it, because this is the best book. I mean, I have perfect example. I just finished up Me Inc. by Gene Simmons from KISS.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
An amazing book. I highly, highly recommend it. And I'm telling everybody. I mean, I'm telling you right now on this interview, go read the book, because it's such a great book. I'm hoping that you read the book and get value out of it. Do I get anything out of that? Not really, other than the satisfaction of knowing that I get to help you, and hopefully at some point, maybe that'll turn around and you'll have a chance to help me at some point. That'd be awesome. If not, that's okay.
Well, yeah, so it's building an honest, true, genuine relationship, and getting in that position of being a helpful connector, a helpful resource, a helpful piece of information. Well, now you are that trusted advisor. The other thing I think is so cool about that, Eli, is that when people do that right, when they're very good at just saying, they answer the question directly, yeah, this is what I do, and then they move on, it actually makes me want to know more about what they do. Whereas if they answer the question and they keep going, it makes me want to start backing out of the room, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's good if you can, when somebody asks you the question of what you do, how can you flip it around as a benefit for them, to help them, instead of just say, you know, I'm a web designer, or I'm a landscaper, or I own a coffee shop, or anything like that. Turn it around. It's like, okay, so do you ever have places, you know, times where you need to meet people for coffee and you're really tired of the standard big chain places? Mm-hmm. I've got a really cool coffee shop, but I've got it designed specifically for people to come in and be able to hang out for a little bit and have meetings and things like that. And so now you shifted it a little bit in order to make it so it's a benefit to them.
Absolutely, yeah. Because let's face it. I mean, if you're trying to sell me something I don't need, then I'm never going to say yes. I mean, and you haven't taken the time to get to know what my issues are, what I need. If you did that and then you gave me a solution, I might say, wow, thank you, Eli. That's very helpful. Well, I am going to thank you, Eli, for all this great and helpful information. So I just want to do a quick recap, and then I want to tell people how to get in touch with you, because you are a valuable resource here. So we've been talking today on Expert Showcase with Ely Delaney, who's been telling us how we can, you know, not lose our sales by failing to do these three important things. So we've been talking about the importance of adding value up front, making sure you're asking questions and listening to the answers, so that you can get to our third point, which is become that trusted advisor, that resource, that person the person wants to talk to, so that when you do have the viable solution for them, they're more than happy to talk to you. So great stuff, Eli. Let me put my glasses on so I can see my notes and correctly tell people how to get in touch with you. So you have a website that is YMU, the letters, YMUrocks.com, and what you want to do is get in touch with Eli by going to YMUrocks.com/NFB. It's up on screen. I don't know why I have the need to spell these things out, which is where you're going to go to download the Network Follow-Up Blueprint. See how nifty that is, Network Follow-Up Blueprint, NFB. So get connected with Eli, get over to YMUrocks.com/NFB and get this blueprint, and then connect with Eli if you want to learn how to implement these things better in your world and become a better salesperson, a better marketer, a better business person, heck, a better relationship builder, right?
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, to throw it out there for anybody who wants to connect with me, reach out with me with the social media world. I am very, very accessible. I love connecting with people. So you can always find me online, and basically just shoot me a quick message, say, hey, I just heard you on with Mark's interview. I would love to talk with you. That's all
Excellent.
It takes.
Yeah.
I would love to connect with any one of you.
See, a relationship builder at work here. So, Eli, thanks so much for being our expert guest today on Expert Showcase. It has been a great deal of fun, and I've learned a lot, and I hope our audience has as well.
Well, thank you, Mark. It was my pleasure. I have a blast doing these.
And another great Expert Showcase episode. Chris, what should people do right now?
Yeah, if you're watching this and you're a coach or consultant, imagine what it would do for you and your business if you were a guest on Experts Showcase. And here's the best part. Other than possibly increasing your business, an appearance on Expert Showcase is free. We give you a copy of your episode so you can use as marketing collateral, and we give you a coaching session to go along with it to tell you how you can best market your episode and other tips and tricks about your business. So what you want to do is head on over to expertshowcase.com, click on the big yellow apply button, and apply to be our next featured guest on the Expert Showcase. Now, if you're a coach or consultant and you've already imagined what having your own internet talk show will do for you, then we want you to head to VideoContent.Agency and check us out, check our packages out, and get in contact with us. Let's see if we're a good fit, and let's see if we're the ones to produce you and make you the next star and have your own internet talk show. And until next time, Mark, anything else?
I couldn't have said it any better, so just do what he said.